Roast with 19 News coming to you from our digital desk. We're going to take you live to a news conference being held by ODOT and all their preparations for what could be a wintry weekend. Let's take a listen in.
County will have between 250 and 275 trucks out in northeast Ohio. We're going to be plowing and salting, but we have to do some special things with the colder temperatures. Salt loses its effectiveness the colder it gets, to the point that by 0 degrees, salt is pretty much useless. So what we do, we add a product to mixed into it. It is effective up to -40. And that is way too powerful for us to use even in single digits, 0 degrees. So what we do is we mix it with our salt brine. The salt brine is in the middle here, and this is simply salt water with a 23% salinity rating, and this will start to freeze in the upper 20 degrees. So we mix these two together to get something that's effective as cold as we need it to be, up to -40. Next, let's talk about salt. Seems to be a hot topic button this week. We have over 32,000. We are receiving active shipments throughout that have been delivered in our district. We are in a good spot with salt right now. We are about 40% full, and that's our normal spot for where we normally are this time of year in the winter. This winter we've used about 60 on the roads here in District 12. Last winter as a whole we used 88,000 tons. So a little bit of perspective, you'll laugh at this. 2 years ago we only used 37,000 tons of salt all winter, so we're already over double that of what it was 2 years ago. Sadly, so far this winter, since Thanksgiving, we are now up to 34 plow trucks struck statewide, and we just want to remind all motorists in this storm, first, if the storm is on a Sunday, so stay home. If you don't absolutely have to be on the roads, stay home, let this storm pass, let us clear the roads, and then on Monday you can resume your give our plow trucks plenty of room to work. If you cannot safely pass a snowplow truck, stay behind it until you can. Our goal is to keep the roads passable, not perfect. When we're getting as much snow as we're expected to get as quickly as we're supposed to get it, it's going to be a challenge to keep 1 or 2 lanes open. So our goal is to keep the roads passable, not perfect. I think that covers it, what I had for you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Given the number of
Yeah, so last year we were at 54 plow strikes for the entire winter, and we're already up to 34 so far this winter. We're seeing a couple of key things. One, frequency of a crash that we see quite a bit of people trying to pass the snowplow. There may be more snow in that lane that is next to the snowplow and then spinning and hitting the snowplow. Another thing is when we're driving in snowy road conditions, we need to increase our stopping distance to the vehicles around us. So we've seen a good handful of rear ending where people rear end our snowplow. People don't believe me is that if you hit a snowplow, you will lose. These are heavy machines built of solid. Makes us and maybe a dent.
Can you just reiterate? I feel like we talk about this every time, and it's like you think people would understand by now, but just in terms of just being safe. We saw a plow truck in front of us and a car trying to zip around them as the lane was narrowing in as they were getting onto.
And also our salt will bounce off the roads if we go fast. So we have to keep it in that 35 to 40 mile an hour range, and that will really increase the efficiency of what we're trying to do on the roads. And so motorists have to also be aware that if you pass a plow, even though our plow may be pointed to the right and you're passing on the left, there will be a huge cloud of snow coming off the opposite side of the plow. And we call that a snow cloud. And that will just completely blanket your car, your windshield, for a couple seconds while you're passing it. And you just need to prepare for that by turning your wipers on high and making sure the road conditions in front of you are safe enough to accelerate and pass.
And then on that same note too, the plow in front of us was putting down salt. So could you just reiterate the prep now for the snow that's about to come?
Yeah, so we're not going to be doing a lot of pre-treating for this. We've had little storms come through here the last couple of days that we're going to have residual salt on the roads. And plus, when it's this cold, anything we put on the roads by itself will just freeze, so we're not going to be able to pre-treat. We're going to be using a lot of beat heat to pre-wet our salt at the back of the truck, which increases that efficiency of the salt when it hits the road.
How's the beet heat taste?
I don't want to taste it based on the smell of it.
I'm just looking for emotion here. How frustrating is it that you have to keep telling drivers, hey, be careful around plows, and so many of these pressers a year where you have to reiterate that message?
Yeah, it seems like a never-ending message, and it seems like motorists don't understand the point of why we're trying to do this. We're out there for your safety, for your well-being, to get to your destination safely. And when you hit a truck, you take that truck out of service, and when that truck is out of service, we can't efficiently use it to plow the roads. So the roads are inherently more dangerous if you hit more plows.
Have you guys ever talked to the governor or the legislature about increasing penalties when they hit a truck versus, just a traffic infraction?
Right. That's a good question I don't know the answer to.
And then just again reiterating the crew, what does that kind of look like this weekend? I'm assuming all hands on deck type energy.
Yeah, absolutely. We work 12-hour shifts around the clock. A common complaint that we get is if it's the weekend or evening, the roads look worse than it would during the day, during a weekday. And that is simply not the case. We have the same amount of crews out no matter what time of day it is, no matter if it's a weekend or weekday. And we're doing the best that we can to keep up with what the weather's throwing at us. So please just drive per the road conditions that you are facing. But if you don't have to be out this weekend, stay home.
Anything else you think folks should know or be
No,
aware of?
I think that's it. We're good on salt, crew strikes, our plan of attack. I think that covers it.
Dan DeRose with 19 News. You've been watching an update. We apologize for the digital breakups there, a little bit of an issue, but it looks like ODOT is prepared. And unlike some of our communities that are experiencing a salt shortage, ODOT has plenty of salt. They are not in that boat, even though they have used twice as much salt this year already as they did 2 years ago. That shows you just how bad of a winter it has been. More than 30 plows have been hit all across the state since Thanksgiving. That is an issue. People who don't give the plows a space, and I loved when he said, people don't understand when you hit a plow, you will lose. That is a heavy piece of machinery, and that is a very good way to put that. If we have any other breaking news, it'll be right here. Our noon news is underway on Channel 19. Otherwise, look for 3.5 hours of news and first alert weather coming up at 3 o'clock. And we will have a weather update later this afternoon, probably at about 2:20, to get you prepared for what we might see this weekend. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a good afternoon.